As I grow older, it's getting difficult for me to appreciate new video games. In order to scratch that itch, I need great gameplay, control, and level design. Neon White checks all those boxes, and for that, it's a top tier game for me. It blew me away in every facet of the gameplay department. I'm going to go into great detail on what makes this game so special, but to summarize quickly, if you like video games, you have to experience Neon White. It's truly that good. Neon White is a first-person shooter and platformer. Most levels are a minute or less, and you're encouraged to complete them as quickly as possible. After completion, you get assigned a medal from bronze to ace based on how quickly you finish. If you're me, you're going to want to replay until you get that ace medal. That's what the big boys do. You've seen this formula in a million games. All you have to do is get from point A to point B and kill every enemy in the level for the portal to open up. Sounds pretty straightforward. It's like Super Monkey Ball but with guns. Neon White adds a certain level of complexity when you factor in how you obtain and use your weapons. Every gun is in the form of a card with limited ammo, and these cards are scattered around every level. You can discard each weapon in real time for a type of movement, and this is where the game really opens up. Discard the pistol to get a double jump. Discard the SMG for a grenade that can both kill enemies and also propel you across the level. Discard the crossbow for a dash attack to go through walls and kill enemies. Discard the rocket launcher to utilize a dope grappling hook. Taking advantage of these abilities are imperative to not only get you through the level, but to find shortcuts throughout the level to shave precious seconds off your time. A mindless, shooty-jumpy game of checkers will quickly turn into a sophisticated game of chess as you're strategically finding where to best utilize your card abilities. I found myself retrying levels over and over until I not only figured out the best route, but also figured out how to execute on it in order to get that juicy ace medal. As you're using the old noggin to beat your time, your heart will be pounding as you're near the finish line. The road to getting all the ace medals was a crazy adrenaline rush. Speedrunning is nothing new. We've all seen crazy videos of Super Mario 64, and I can't imagine emulating that. I'm a casual gamer. I'm not really that good at video games, but Neon White made me feel like I was a legitimate speedrunner by the end of my playthrough. I credit the developers' amazing level design. Every platform, every weapon, and every enemy is meticulously placed. You're encouraged to quote-unquote break the game as you find new paths and shortcuts. When I revisit levels to try and beat my times, I can do it pretty effortlessly, and that's because I'm simply improving at the game. The difficulty curve definitely spikes as the game progresses, but the level design prepares you for that. Neon White does this magical thing where it actually tricks the gamer into improving at the mechanics instead of providing artificial progression and difficulty. There's not much luck involved here. If you beat your time, that's because you got better. You're going to become a master on how to utilize these weapons. A good example of this is when you're introduced to the rocket launcher. You're encouraged to utilize the explosions to build momentum and elevate through the level. It's seamless, just shooting at the ground and bouncing around everywhere. When you're introduced to the second level with the rocket launcher, you need to discard each rocket launcher to trigger the grappling mechanic in order to get to your goal. From there, the mechanics are established, and it's up to you to figure out how to utilize these mechanics in future levels in order to get the most optimal time. Now in real time, you're going to have to decide when it's best to grapple and when it's best to utilize your explosives. Clearly can't stop talking about speedrunning, and yes, speedrunning is the majority focus of the levels here. But an added cherry on top is that there's an optional gift in every level that you can find. After I was content with my finish time, I made a switch to the other side of my brain, the exploration collectathon side. The game has these gifts hidden away in hard to reach places. You need to strategically figure out not only where the gifts are located, but how to reach it by stocking up on the right cards. This gift seems pretty visible, but I can't just simply jump and reach it. I need to gather up the right tools for the task. You're encouraged to get all the gifts as it unlocks bonus levels that range from avoiding death trap spikes to learning the mechanics of one specific card in creative ways. My favorite levels were the Neon Violet ones because they focused on crazy platforming sections while avoiding spikes. Some of these bonus levels feel more like ROM hacks, and I mean that in the best possible way. Gifts also unlock story content. Let's quickly touch on the story. I am not a fan of the story here. Since my channel is focused primarily on gameplay, I'll make this one quick. The cutscenes and voice acting were really tough to watch and listen to. I think it's very possible they made the dialogue intentionally bad, but regardless, I just couldn't get into it. What I can get into is the music. The soundtrack was done by an electric punk band called Machine Girl. The music is incredibly fitting for the visuals and world. It definitely adds to a unique experience, and there are plenty of bangers on this one. I encourage anyone to check out the soundtrack. The visuals here speak for itself. This cartoony style and aesthetic will age gracefully throughout the test of time. The style takes me back to the Dreamcast and GameCube era, but obviously better performance than those consoles. My good friend and fan of the channel, Hunter, called Neon White the greatest Sega Dreamcast game of all time. I concur. Neon White creator Ben Esposito said in a trailer that Neon White is a game created for freaks. This is marketed as an indie game in every meaning of the word. I also read a review from Game Informer saying that Neon White is a game created for weirdos, misfits, and dorks. While they mean those words in a very endearing way, I can't disagree more. I've shown this game to very basic gamers who only play Call of Duty and sports games. They couldn't put the controller down. Put me on record, Neon White is a game that's for everyone. It's not that hard to beat, but was a fun challenge to get an ace medal on every level. Trying to beat out your friends' times on the leaderboards is an added cherry on top. Neon White is super accessible for its controls and level design, making that difficulty curve a lot less steep and welcoming for all skill levels. In Neon White, everyone feels like a speedrunning god. You truly grow with the game. The progression doesn't come from any RPG elements. Your character doesn't improve level after level. You improve. This feeling of growth is apparent as you continue to perfect your craft. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got an ace medal to unlock.
Not bad for a dead guy, huh?